So here's one from a company I've not worked for before, and GearBest have kindly sent it to me to review. It's a different folding drone. I mean, the folding bits is quite normal. As you can see, I've had other drones that do this sort of effect, just sort of fold into to make the area smaller for transporting around. But this one's got these great big legs that stick out, which I'm kind of thinking defeats a bit of the folding drone bit to make it smaller, more compact. These are going to catch in bags and things. It's not the end of the world by any means, and it does have some nice landing feet, so if you land in longish grass you won't have any problems with it, which is a good design. I just wish these sort of folded out the way as well. They've got good sort of rubber feet on them, so it come down and land no problem at all. It does start off quite small, as you see, just about fits under my hand, and then when we fold it out we actually get a decent size quad out of it. So it does a nice job. And these don't actually click into any sort of position. There isn't a ball holding them in or anything, but they're pretty solid. They take quite a knock to actually fold them back in again, so I think in an impact they would sort of save themselves. Nice looking. I think somebody told me this was the dead cat shaped drone. With the way the legs are on it, yeah, it is a slightly different design. Hopefully it will more or less keep the props out of shot from the actual camera, because the front arms are swept back slightly and the back ones are very much swept back, as you can see. My one's in a really nice sort of two-tone black almost, really smart looking thing. And it's got, this one's got the wide angle lens. I've got the Wi-Fi kit with this one, and I'll show you how we put all that on in a minute. And the nice thing about this, you can actually tilt the lens as well, so you can tilt it. It doesn't tilt very far, it's from there to there sort of thing, but that's more than enough, I've found. Obviously if you want to shoot down, this isn't going to be the drone for you, sort of thing. But the lens does look nice, and a nice system on this, I really like this, is that you can put a micro SD card in. My one didn't come with one, and you can store your images on the actual card itself. So and the system you use for recording, I'll show you that as well when we get onto it, is your phone, and if it's got a card in, it stores it on the quad, and if it hasn't got a card in, it stores it back to your phone. So I think that's really good, sort of quite safe. When you press the record button, it will record, so that's good. You've got an on-off switch there, as you can clearly see, and the battery is a sort of proprietary one, but I'll show you how we get around that later on. I'll always have a way of getting around using batteries if I possibly can, because having extra batteries gives you longer flight times, and that's really what I'm in the hobby for, to be honest. It's basically a 900 milliamp hour single cell, and it charges through a JST connector there, and you get the charger and everything, and I'll show you that in the summary. And as you can see there, it just simply plops in, and the nice thing with the on-off switch, nothing comes on. It can sit in there quite happily and nothing comes on until we actually turn the switch on, and that's a definite positive. And even I mean, this is seriously bright morning here in the Highlands of Scotland. A beautiful autumn morning, lovely day to fly, nice and still, and the LEDs are showing up really well even in this light. And you've even got LEDs on the bottom there, tells you whether you're recording or not. So so far I really like the setup of this, and like I say, now we've got those the high landing gear. When she comes down, she's going to sit out of any grass or anything. A lot of the folding drones land belly down or very small legs, so it depends where you're going to sort of fly. Mine was more the transporting around. Onto the transmitter, which looks a bit different to most of them. It's got a massive great hole in there. Your batteries slide in under here. So you need the AAA batteries, and you need 4 of them. There's one in each arm. I like this design. It just feels good in the hand and everything. Obviously you can fly it without the FPV on it and without your phone on it, but you can fly it with as well. So if you're new to flying, I would suggest you just get out with the transmitter and the quad and just learn to fly it and just have a load of fun, because that will really get you the bug. Then play around with the FPV and everything else afterwards. That's the way I do it anyway. So transmitter is really nicely laid out. It's comfortable in the hand. It is a toy grade transmitter. You can sort of feel it. It's got quite a plastic feel to it, which you would expect at this level. I think without the sort of base model is about £30, and the top of the range model with everything on it is about £40. So this is a cheap drone for what you get. I think they're getting cheaper and hopefully better. The other thing I like about this transmitter, everything is really clearly marked on it. These are your trims, so it alters your direction on here. And let's just have a quick run through. This is a mode 2 transmitter, so this is your throttle. So push this up, the quad will go up. Pull it down, the quad will come down. To turn it, which is called yawing with quads, if you push it this way, it will turn this way, and it's proportional as well. So as you turn it, it will get faster and faster the more you put the lever over, and obviously as soon as you let go, it will stop in that position, and same the other way to the left. These are your direction ones, so forward is that one there, and that's forward. Basically the front of the quad is where the camera is, so that's the front, so that's going to be forwards. And then backwards, if I turn it around that way, it might make it easier for you. Backwards is back towards me, and that's called pitching. And then rolling is when you go to the right or you go to the left, like that. Now that doesn't matter in what direction you're facing. So if we're facing this way, so it's facing across to there, if I roll right, it's going to roll towards me, because as far as the quad's concerned, that is rolling right. But this also has something called headless mode on it, and I love this transmitter, like I say, with everything marked on it. This is the headless mode. So if we bind up, and I'll show you how we do that in a second, we bind up like this, normally forward, backwards, as I say, and that would be forward and then backwards. In headless mode, if I press this button here, we get flashing LEDs and we get a beep off the transmitter as well. No matter what direction the quad's facing in, because we set it up running this way, when I press forward, forward is always away from me, backwards towards me, and right and left. And it doesn't matter, even if it's a bit obscure angle like that, forward is always directly away from me. It's not a way I like to fly, but I will show you with the review how that works. Some beginners quite like it, but I prefer to fly like I'm in the pilot's view. And especially when you've got the FPV on as well, really good way of flying, really nice, I think. Quick run through the rest of the transmitter, and like I say, everything's marked on it, it's superb. Lights on and off, obviously, with the light one there. It's got 3 different speeds, and it starts in the low speed one. And when you press this, it beeps twice to go into intermediate. Press it again, goes into advanced. So basically 3 different amounts of control you get. So you get more pitch when you're actually in a higher rate. So that's all that does. So always start in low rates, and it always starts in low rates. But if you're a beginner, just keep it in low rates to get used to it. Flip button, press this one, and if it's got enough battery charge, it will flip. If it's low on the battery, it won't flip. So I don't think there's something wrong with your quad, it's just purely low on battery. Press this one, and then you choose the direction, right, forward, left and back, and this one does a really nice flip. I've actually had to play around with it. If you're really attentive, you might have noticed there's a couple of scratches on the props, because I was getting over anxious with it up above the roof. So and also all the little it comes with little chrome cone covers on the top here, prop covers on the top. They've all come off as well, so they're just flick on and off sort of thing. But I do like to have a play with it before I actually do the review, because then I can be a bit more honest as I'm running through it. You've got obviously your on off button here. Emergency stop, that literally kills the motors when it's in the air. Press that, it will drop out the sky. These ones are your trim buttons, so that adjusts here if it starts to drift around. But what I would suggest you do is, if you've got any problems that the quad keeps drifting in one direction and it isn't due to wind, I mean, this is a lightweight quad, this will respond to any amount of breeze, will just take it and drift it away. I would calibrate it, and I'll show you how to calibrate it when we power it all up. You've got auto takeoff and auto land, but you have to prime the motors first of all. You have to put them into like an idle mode, and to do that you pull them down and out. Then you press this one and it'll auto take off, or if you want to, you can just give it some throttle and it will take off automatically. You've got a return to home, which I'm never really impressed with. I don't know why they put them on such small models, because it will come roughly back to where you are, but there's no guarantee of it, and you won't be flying it that far away. You're not going to, but that is what that button is. These ones on my model, because I've got the Wi-Fi, these don't work, but this, if you haven't got a Wi-Fi version, this takes still photographs and this starts your videos. And that's it, and like I say, really nicely laid out, really comfortable in the hand. We've got the attachment here that will go, it slots into here. And this is a little bit of a fiddle, and it goes into there as well. And it really holds well, actually. I'm quite impressed with the build of this for the money, and like I say, a company I've never worked for before. So I put my phone in, and as you can see, we're all ready to go now. On this particular model, you turn the transmitter on first of all, you get flashing LED up on the on-off switch. You put the actual quad on, you get flashing pulsing LEDs there, and on the top as well. And then to bind it, you simply go up and down on the throttle, and that gets us bound. And as you can see now, the LEDs have stopped flashing. To calibrate it, like I say, if it's very first flight, I suggest you do that. It's probably not a bad idea, and also if you've had a crash or something or other, it's always a good thing to try and calibrate it. So put it on somewhere level, make sure you don't move it while you do it, pull the 2 sticks down into the centre, and there we go. As you can see, the flashing stops, that means the gyros are calibrated. Okay, and onto the actual phone. So what happens now is the quad has set up a Wi-Fi hotspot, and we're just going to use the phone to link onto that. So this doesn't use up any of your roaming data. You don't need to be near another Wi-Fi system. It's just purely a link between these two. Go into your Wi-Fi settings, and then it will pick it up as Wi-Fi 720p is on my particular one, and connect up back to your home. And the app we're going to be using is Wi-Fi UFO, though I have tried it on Wi-Fi FPV and it seems to work as well, but we'll stick with the one they recommend. And this is a really nice simple app, and I've done a video on how to use this app, so and I'll put a link down in the description for you there. Turn that on, and it's usually nice and quick. Look at that, lovely and quick. And like I say, tilt that camera up and down, so that's not far, but enough, I think. The only thing I have noticed is you can just about get the edge of the props in. If you have it set up too high, if you've got it right up there, you can just about get them in, but I'm going to put it more or less level. And your controls and everything, like I say, I explained in the other one. Because I've got a card on board, if I press this, the icon goes yellow, but we're recording on the actual quad itself. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, you can. You get a little blue flashing LED, means we're recording. So nice. Okay, without further ado, God, that took ages to go through, didn't it? Let's get up and fly, shall we? So just going to pull that down. I wouldn't recommend if you knew that you take off this close to anything, but I'm going to give it a go. And another great thing I forgot to mention there is after a few seconds the motor's killed. So once you put it into idle, if you don't do anything with it, it will actually kill the motor. So let's pull it down a little bit more sensible place to take off. Down and out, and then if I press the auto take off she goes. Really nice little flyer. For a beginner, this thing will be awesome. It is lovely. The FPV did have a little bit of a lockout there. When I played around with it before, I didn't get any problems with it. It seemed to work quite well. And because it's got altitude hold, and that's why both the sticks become centered, it will stay at the same altitude. So that's holding pretty well. On a windy day they can pulse up and down, but today it's nice and calmish. For the Highlands it's very calm. Oh, actually I won't fly too much into the sun there, you won't be able to see it. There we go. But that flies really nicely. And the descent isn't bad for an altitude hold one, because sometimes they're really slow. Full kick out is that, so it's nothing anxious. The nice thing about these sort of quads, you can inspect your gutters and everything if you want to. You're definitely getting a little bit of drop out there on the actual FPV, but of course the recording will be fine. And that is a seriously wide angle lens. We're not far from the house, I can get the whole house in, no problem at all. Okay. There we go, like I say, it does descend quite quick for an altitude hold. I'm going to show you the flip. It climbs a bit and then it just does a really slow flip actually. Most of them are really rapid, but this one's actually I quite like this one. I think it's rather good. Going to pop the rates up, so that's now into intermediate. And like I say, it's a bit better on the speed. Wow, that sun is gorgeous. Whoa! Last time I flew out here, that wasn't that tall. Okay, so that's in intermediate rates. And now everything's a little bit faster, and the yaw is quite nice as well. It's not too mad. Let's pop it up into high rates. If you're new to flying, this is reasonably fast, I would say. It's certainly not slow. And very controllable. And the thing I really like about this, and this is not usual on cheap quads, is you can actually do the yaw really smoothly. It starts off smooth. There we go. Now most cheap quads have a kick to start with, and then you can smooth them out. This one, you can actually do it very smooth from the beginning. There we go. Which is great for video. Means a much nicer video. You don't get that jerkiness at the beginning. Okay, let's show you this headless mode. We're going to pop it into headless. So right, I'm going to just try and set myself up. There you go, that's right, that's left, that's forward, and that's backwards, and it's like I say, it's really not my thing, but if that's how you want to learn, then that's fine. No matter what angle the quad's facing at, if I press right, right is that way. The beeping off here, and we've got flashing LEDs. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. And that means that we're in headless mode, so I'm going to press that and it'll take that off. The beeping stops and the flashing LEDs stop. The other time you get flashing LEDs is when the battery's getting low, which I'm surprised we got this much actually. So I'm going to stop the video. I'm just going to load this, will put the head cam right into the sun. A tiny bit of breeze, like I say. I'm just going to take a still. There we go. Oops. Oh, I got the sound off on the... there we go. So we took a couple of stills there. There we go. Easy to get. I mean, you could be quite close before you get any. Very nice. Right, I think that's sort of everything covered. Oh yes, we can bring it into land by simply pulling the throttle off, and then the motors will kill once it's actually stopped going down. I could have done that down onto the ground obviously. And the other way we can take off is prime the motors and then just give it some throttle. And it's very gentle the way it does it. I like it. With the auto landing, like I say, you can bring it in, and as you're bringing it in, you can actually control where it's going. So I'm not disending that at all. It's doing it automatically. Once again, it's reached a level, it will just stop, kills the motors in a couple of seconds. I'm going to stop the video. And the other thing I want to show you is this emergency stop, and that's actually very efficient. So I just press, whoops. There we go. Just hold this down for a second and it just literally kills the motor, so it will drop out of the sky. So now we're getting flashing LEDs, but one last thing I will do is a quick range test, because I know I can do about 80 meters from up here, and that will take it to the end of the garden. Just going to do a quick range test. I mean, the battery is low now, but we will give it a quick go. I know it's over 80 meters to go to the end of my garden here. Yep. Yeah, that's through 80 meters there. That's about 100 meters there. And the FPV is still working now. That's quite unusual. Whoops. Oh no, I've run out of power. So if we run out of power, it will just literally descend slowly till it just drops, as you saw there. So I put another battery in, but that was just best part of 100 meters there. It was pretty impressive. Okay, so got told off for having dirty steps on the beginning of the review, so Mrs. Tigger has been out and tidied it up for me. Look at this beautiful area. This time I'm going to fly it, the other battery's on charge, sorry, the supplied one, but I've actually found an old one I've got here, 900 milliamp hour. I don't suppose it's got a lot of guts in it, to be honest, and it's got the JST connector, but just to show you don't have to buy the proprietary ones, and any batteries I can find that will fit this, I'll put links down in descriptions for you. Basically just going to slide that into there. I mean, it fits in really nicely, to be honest. I'm just going to pop that in like that, and then that goes in round that way, and that's us all done. Now I don't think that will come out, but I know some people are a little bit funny and want things absolutely held in, so you could bang a couple of elastic bands over it if you like. Just make sure the JST goes in around the right way. You can force them the other way. Definitely not recommended. You'll just fry your board, and that'll be your quad out of action forever. So this time I'm actually going to fly it using the app, so we're going to fly it just on the phone, so it'll be a little bit of fun there. And what I'll do is I'll pop the card out so that we don't, so we're going to actually store back onto the phone this time, so I'll just pop that card out. I like this system that it will record somewhere no matter what sort of thing. Okay, so turn the quad on, it goes down to the slow pulsing flashing LEDs. I've gone into my Wi-Fi settings, and as you can see the Wi-Fi 720's come up. My one says it won't reconnect automatically, and that's fine, so just connect up to that. And then the LEDs will carry on flashing. Let's go into the Wi-Fi UFO setup. Press play, and then we're live again. There we go, and it's told us we're connected to this, basically to the Wi-Fi hotspot, but there's no internet access. And we've still got flashing LED. That's because we haven't turned the controls on. I turned the controls on. Now the LED has gone solid, which means we've actually got control from our actual phone. So again, I did a full video on how to fly using this app, and there's a link down in the description for you, so I'm not going to run through everything on it, but basically you've still got, you can still calibrate it. You could do everything virtually that you can do using the transmitter, but it's just using your phone, so you don't actually need to carry the transmitter with you, though the flight experience I think is way better on a transmitter than it ever would be with a phone, but perhaps that's just me. The nice thing is with this, you've got both options. So we need to turn on the altitude hold, and there we go, and then we're all ready to go. Press the button, and then it sits in idle, and we're ready to take off. Whoops, I didn't do that fast enough. There we go. Oh, I'll start recording, and then you'll see what the difference is. And this time we actually get the count up is on here, where before it was just on the phone. So let's just bring that around. And it flies really nicely on this app. This app is absolutely superb. Having said that, I better go and louse it up now. It's very docile in 30%, really docile. So that's full roll, sorry, with it. Full sort of pitch and roll. And you can use the controls proportionally. So we're going to up the rates, and that gives us a lot more control now. Well, it makes it faster, basically. A really nice little flyer. Like I say, I'm not too sure how much power we'll have with this, because this battery is quite an old battery. There we go, you can set up your selfie if you want. Just stop that, there we go. Put the video back on. Like I say, the video is recording now on the actual phone itself. So really nice setup. One thing I haven't actually tried is the actual whether it will flip with this. Yeah, it does. It still flips on the app. Some of them don't. I don't know why. Let's try this up at 100%. This will probably start to get a little bit anxious. Yay! Look at the pitch on that. That's quite nice. Yay! That has got a fair old amount of pitch for an app. That is really good. And if you run out of signal or your phone goes off or anything like that, it will just drop slowly to the ground. It doesn't plummet to the ground, which I've been quite pleased with actually. So that is really nice. Quite impressed with that. And you can fly it on the gyro of your phone, so do that. And with this amount of pitch it's given us, there we go. So if I go to the left, it goes to the left, go to the right, go to the right, backwards and forwards, and you can still rotate it as well. It is quite good. My granddaughters love flying this way. This is serious fun as far as they're concerned. That is nice and very nice and controllable again. There we go. That is really good. And you just turn that off and you're back in control. Like I say, it's got the altitude hold anyway. So let's see what we do. Let's just bring that into land. A little bit heavy there, I've throttled off a little bit too much. I'm going to tilt that camera right the way down. There we go. And just see how we get on with that. That really is pointing down. Like I say, it's quite a wide angle. That was me pulsing the throttle, not the altitude hold wrong. Yeah, that is pointed down quite a bit. I think that might have been a little bit of drop out there. That is pretty good though. That is very good indeed actually. I think the wind might be catching that a bit. I'm quite impressed with this quad, I must admit. For the money I think it's really good. So now I'm going to actually... that's it. I'm going to put the camera up as high as I can possibly go now. I think we're more or less there, aren't we? Yeah, that's pointed up now. That's going to be a bit different. I do like this. It's got quite a bit of go in it in 100%. It certainly does have. Oh yeah. And it flies really nicely. Oh, we're getting 40 meters there. Yeah, we haven't had any dropout yet on the control. Hey, what I do. I'll see how far I can go. Like I say, nice and controllable. That is good 50 meters there, no problem. I'll tell you what, if a Wi-Fi one can go that far, just on something simple like this, that is impressive. Very good indeed. And I can actually, obviously still using the Wi-Fi now, line myself up with the shot. There we go. That is seriously quick actually. Hey, we're fun to get in flashing LEDs. My word, that's been a review and a half of this thing. You can tell I like it, can't you? There we go. That, I tell you what, that is one of the most impressive little quads I've had, I think. For just sort of does everything really nicely, to be honest. There we go. I'm going to stop that video. Always make sure you stop the video before you turn the quad off, because you can corrupt the end of the video there. Really nice. So this is everything you get in the box, and it is a smart little box that it comes in as well. As you probably noticed, I'm pretty impressed with it for what it is. You know, it's not a DJI Mavic Pro, and it's not aiming to be one of those. This, with the discount code that I'll put down in description for you, if you use the link in the discount code, you get this for about £25 in the very base model, and this is like the top of the range model with the camera and everything, and that's about £35 with a discount. So I think, you know, it's a value for money quad. Now, with that in mind, let's run through everything, what I felt about it. The fold-in, first of all, I wish these legs fold out of the way, because it sort of really bulks it up a bit, as I said in the review, but that's just the way it's designed, and it lands really nicely because the legs come out so far, and you've got a really nice landing area there. Most of them are tucked back in here so they can wobble and fall over. I never had this fall over at all. It's really good, and you know, that sort of, you know, the fact they built that in like that, I think is pretty good, sort of thing. The prop guards are really good, and you get 4 of those as well. If you're new to flying, I suggest you do that. I did loosen this one off here, a little bit fiddly to get into there. You just pop that out, and then you just simply pop that in. No screwing or unscrewing to do at all. Pops in there like that, and they're really good. They're slightly flexible, and that's the way they should be. They shouldn't be rock solid, so it's a little bit of give when you actually hit anything, and the top is pretty much covered by, it's going to be covered by the top of the props anyway, so that's not usually an issue. The props all do come with a nice little chrome protector on the top there, but I wound up knocking mine off, and I couldn't find them under the leaves and everything, so I'm not too worried about them. They're just a decorative, really, I think. So the fold out of the quad, I've never had any issues with it folding back in. It's nice and stiff the way it goes into there, so I'm really impressed with it. The camera, tilting of the camera was good. It does it just enough. You can get the props in if you tip it right up, but it's not the end of the world, and it pointed down enough for me. It doesn't point directly down. If that's what you're after, this isn't the quad for you. I'm not sure it would carry anything else. It's a lightweight quad. You might be able to put a little bit better camera on here underneath, but I don't think it's really aimed at carrying heavy loads, sort of thing. The battery itself was really good, and though they make out it's a proprietary one, and it certainly is, I mean, it all sits in there really nice and slick, and it does look smart when it's all put in. It finishes off the quad very nicely. I couldn't find a replacement for this. I don't think you can buy these at the moment, and they might never do them. Some of the quad manufacturers just never do it. So what I used was a very old 900 milliamp hour battery, which is the same size as this one, and with a JST on the end there, and it did fit in there rather nicely. But you could, if you were using another battery, I would just hang it underneath and just put an elastic band around it. You got so much clearance here, it wouldn't be a problem, and then simply just
plug it into there. Now I've found, I think there's 5 800 milliamp hour ones, and I'll put a link down in the description for you, and with a multi-charger as well, and that will charge them all up in about an hour. So you've got loads of flight time then, and that's the way I personally would do it. The stock charger here is a USB one, and goes into the JST obviously, as you see, but it does take about 2 hours to charge, which seems excessive, really ridiculous. I would have thought it would have done it in an hour. Just the way it is. So these things, most of the chargers they give you with the quads, really not really very efficient. So that's obviously what that is. So I would certainly go for the extra batteries, or if you're using a hobby grade charger like I do, I can charge this in an hour, no problem at all. So the actual quality of the FPV was pretty good, though we did get quite a bit of dropout, but it instantly caught back up, so I was quite impressed with that. I don't think you could fly it with goggles. I did give it a quick try, but it honestly didn't work. The footage is, I'm going to put the footage up for you so you can have a look at the footage from it. It's not bad. It is what it is. Again, we're 25-35 pound quad here with everything all in. I think it is about what it would be. It's records like a lot of the cheap cameras does. It only does like 19 or 20 frames per second, so it's a little bit jerky and not the best in the world. But I'm not expecting that. If I paid £200 for it, I'd expect it to be really good. But at the price it is to get you into flying, a little bit of FPV on your phone, I thought it was wonderful. Yeah, I've enjoyed it, I must admit. The transmitter was good. I love the fact that everything's marked up, so if you're new to it, you can soon get the idea of where everything is. And it flew really nice. And as I said in the review, when you do the turn or the yaw-in, on most cheap quads it kicks off and then it will go smooth, which really makes the video awful, and it doesn't make it a very nice flying experience either. With this one, when you gave it just a little bit of yaw, it just slowly started to turn, which I really liked. I thought that was really good and really nice to have on this level of quad. I got it on the more expensive ones, but never actually on this one. Like I say, the transmitter worked really well, and the range was, we were about 100 meters and it was holding no problem at all. And even the FPV was coming in and out at around 80-90 meters. I was still being able to use it. So that is pretty impressive, I think. And the app I really liked, that worked really well. I like that app anyway. It's quite simple, nice and easy to use, and it worked really well on this particular quad. So all in all, value for money, budget quad, everything all logged in. If you're new to flying, or you just want something easy that you can bung in your rucksack and you're not going to be too anxious about it if anything ever happens to it, 25 or 30 quid, I don't think you can go far wrong.